Hello, welcome to Divine TV. I'm Oluwakemi Sinola Omitimbe, your host on Christian Parenting and Home Front. Today I have with me a special guest, Dr. J.B. Minari from University of Lagos, Faculty of Science, Department of Cell Biology and Genetics. We will be throwing more light on the topic that we'll be treating for the past in our past episode. As I said earlier, I have a special guest, Pastor J.B. Minari. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's a doctor, he's a father, and he's going to be throwing more light on the topic, Christian parenting and home front. Sir, what is Christian parenting to you, sir?
Thank you very much. Let me even start by saying what parenting is all about. In the first place, when we talk about parenting, we are talking about raising up the young ones intellectually, socially, emotionally, and otherwise to be able to nurture them onto adulthood. That's the general parenting. But when it comes to Christian parenting, we are actually talking about our ability to also nurture these children in the ways of the Lord, making them to know the Lord, and also to nurture them, to make them to also become spiritually matured. That is what Christian parenting is all about.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So from that definition, I was able to pick that as a parent, training up their words in the way of the Lord. Yeah. Can you now tell us more about parents? There are some parents that they don't even know God. So if they don't know God, you can only give what you have. Now that they don't know God, how can they help themselves in order to be able to help their words?
Yes, unfortunately, people just parent anyhow they want, and then they want the best from the children. From my also little experience in interaction with so many of the young ones, we discovered that people just come together, they just give birth, they train them anyhow they think is right, and they want the best from them, and that's where the problem really lies. As parents, almost all parents, I will not say all, but almost all parents want the best from the children and want the best from them, but they are not giving what they should give. So many parents that even want their children to be godly, they themselves, they are not godly. So the first assignment for them is for them, first of all, to be godly. It's for them also to even know what they want to pass down. Imagine a father that is smoking, and then you are saying you are giving your children rules that they should not smoke. So what are you trying to pass across? So when you yourself, you are not even there, you don't even know what you believe, you are not walking in the way of the faith, and then you want the children to do same, then it's going to be virtually impossible. And eventually the children is going to turn out not just bad, but worse the parent, because like they say that one generation wisdom is in next fully. What that means is that as generation passes by, you see that one generation looks a little bit faster on the faster lane than the next one. So if the father is drinking one and you didn't nurture the children well, those children will come, they will drink 2 or 3. They will move faster because they think their own generation is wiser than the previous generation, and they will take it further. So the children will turn out to be worse than even the parent if those children are not properly brought up. And that's why you can see that moral decadence as the generation passes by. One generation will come and say, oh, in my generation things were not like this. Next generation will come, oh, in my generation things were not like this. And it kept on degenerating. That's what we are seeing in our society today.
And like this generation, things are not the way it was. Everybody wants to do their own things. They don't even want to carry their parents along. But how can parents raise up their words in godly way in this generation that we are now?
Yes, is a whole lot of assignments on behalf of parents, and parents should know, number one, they should be intentional. I notice that most times we are not intentional about what we actually want. Like I said earlier, that we just want to do it anyhow and then get the best results. You can't do it anyhow and get the best results. So there are specific steps that you need to take to ensure that you get the best. So number one, you must know that you have to be intentional. What I mean by intentional, you deliberately think that I want the best from my children. So after you have known that, you now ask yourself, what are the steps that I need to take? Number one step is that, first of all, yourself, you need to serve as an example. You must begin to tell yourself, if I want my children to walk in the ways of the Lord, I need to also start to walk in the way of the Lord, in your disposition, in your action, in your speeches, in what you do. The scripture says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he will not depart from it. But you must also serve as an example for the children. So let them see that I'm following this set. So after you have done that, then you two now begin to tell them what is right from also what is wrong. Sometimes most parents, they chastise the children, telling them what is wrong, but not telling them what is right. If you are saying what you are doing is wrong, then tell the person the right thing to do, not just saying this thing is wrong. Then number 3, you must also make sure that you set rules at home as parents. You have to set rules for them. These are what we expected of you. And then number 4, you also tell them the consequences. These are the consequences. If you violate this is what's going to happen. If I say do this, if you are not doing it, this is what is going to happen. So when you set those rules, the next one is that you must also make sure that you enforce those things that you say. There are various ways to carry out discipline, but you must enforce those things that you are saying. Then the next point is that you must also catch them when they are good. So it's not just condemning when they are wrong. When they also done something right, let them know, oh, I love what you did. You have done it the right way. This is the right thing to do. So that's going to go a long way to also encourage them to do the right thing. So it's not just only when they are wrong that you are also chastising. Some parents, they are fond of doing that, and then when something is right, when the child has done something, you pretend as if you did not see them. They are expecting you to also say, well done boy, well done girl, you have done the right thing, but we decide to keep quiet. The another thing is that let's also share our own part of life also, our strengths and weaknesses. So many parents want to pretend as if when they were young, they were perfect. No, tell them when I was young, I made my mistakes and I corrected myself. As a matter of fact, you might even tell them that some of the consequences of what I'm facing is as a result of the choices I've made in the past, and that's why I don't want you to make those mistakes. So if you begin to pretend as if, oh, you never made a mistake before, you've never fallen into errors before, and then when they now make some mistakes, they just feel as if something is wrong with them. We tell them nothing is wrong with you. It comes with your age, but you correct yourself, you discipline yourself. So by the time you begin to show them strengths, your own strengths and weaknesses, they will be deep in understanding, and even when they are not around you, they cannot be easily be influenced. Because if you just set rules and you just become a terror to them, and whenever they leave you, they are going to have problems. So those are some of the ways that we can actually help our children to grow up well.
In this generation. Thank you very much, sir. Now, in the area of discipline, sir, yes. Before we go to that issue of discipline, I want us to talk about ways in which parents can train up their wards in the way of the Lord. Talking about, because some people, they just believe that it's only Sunday that we can go with our Bibles to church. It's only Sunday that when you just listen to sermon, there is nothing like that at home. They've left their words. They just believe, let me pray on my own and go. This issue of family devotion is no more there. And these are the things our parents in the whole they did. In fact, some of them, they will force their words to church for money, prayers, and those things helped. But nowadays, they are not there. What are those things that we can do, ways in which...
Okay, well, like you rightly said, the morning devotion is one of it, one major part that, like I said, that you set rules. Those are part of the rules you set. Tell them that we have a morning devotion and that they must attend, not only attend, they must participate. Like I remember growing up, now that we have a lot of devotions, growing up there was nothing like all these daily devotions, but they will choose a Bible passage for you, you read, and then you interpret it for everybody. And then you pray, you lead prayers on it. That will also nurture it. But let me also say something that some parents also do about morning devotion that doesn't help the children. When you have morning devotion, it's not an opportunity to use what one of your word did as a topic. Some parents used to do that, and it makes the children more rebellious. So you may eventually having rebellious children with the morning devotion, because some people now, because you've chastised him or her yesterday, that, oh, why did you? So the next topic now, oh, those people that doesn't listen, that will not wash plate when they ask them to wash plate, and then he knows that you are talking to, and the rest is that, oh, is Shade they are talking to, is Bayo they are talking to.
As we were talking on morning devotion, we want to go on break. When we come back, Pastor will continue from where he stopped. Thank you.
Enjoy inspirational, informative, and soul-lifting Christian programs such as Christian Parenting and Homefront, Light After Darkness, Fulfilling the Mandate, Kids and Bible, Movies Review, Shepherd's Spouse, Kingdom Stars, Teens Perspectives, My Next Gospel Event, and lots more on Divine Television. Download Divine TV mobile app on Google Play Store or watch on our YouTube channel. You can also visit www.tvdivine.net. Divine TV, enriching souls through the gospel of Christ.
You're welcome back. Sir, from the morning devotion, please, can you continue for what?
Yeah, so what I was trying to say is that the morning devotion could be very effective if properly done. Like I was saying that you also need to handle that with care. Let it just be as led by the Spirit of God. Thank God we have devotionals that we are using now that can actually lead us in what we are going to study. So let them participate actively, okay, and not just using a previous day offense as a prayer point or as a topic. So that is very important. Then in some other times, even as in those days when you are back from church, you also ask them, what did they learn from church today? They rehearse it to you. They tell you what they had. You tell them what are the things that they also learned from those places. That's one thing. Then another thing to also do is that circumstantially, you can also teach them things. When things happen around, from there you pick the word of God and then you teach them that, look at this thing that happened. This is the moral lesson you get from it. I remember during my own days too, growing up also, it was during the military era whereby they kill people by firing squad. I remember so many parents now will also call and say, you can see now, you know what is happening there? These are the people that their parents corrected. These are the people that the parents asked them to come for church service and they didn't go. They went on in the way of robbery and they've been caught. And now they are facing the firing squad. And someone say, will you like this kind of life? You say no. So don't go that way. And then they can see some other good person as well. Oh, do you like this way? Say, yes, I want to be like, okay, do you want to, okay, this person is living morally okay and following the ways of the Lord. And then, you know, some of those ways of passing out knowledge, they are very, very effective. And unfortunately, these days, it's not that common anymore. Probably because, especially those staying in urban centers like Lagos, where you are very busy, you leave very early, come back very late. So you don't even have time to even have a close one-on-one talk with the children. So I think those are some of the ways that we can also make our children to go in the ways of the Lord.
Thank you very much, sir. Parents, I just want to advise that you need to have time for your words. Have time for them, because if you have time for them now, you will enjoy later. You may be thinking you are rushing after money now, but if you don't do what you're supposed to do now, you will regret it. The best is to have time for them. Now, in the area of discipline, sir, I want to help us to share more light, because there are some words that after their parents discipline them, they will now use it as a way of not to open up to their parents, that they will prefer to go outside to open up to their friends that do not have experience, and those people, you see them misleading them. So please, sir, what are your words for them?
In terms of discipline, like when I started, I told you that so many people don't really learn parenting. So you just give birth and we do it anyhow. When it comes to discipline needs some level of technicalities a little bit. Discipline does not necessarily 100% means that beating, flogging. And at the same time, there's also aspect of also not sparing the rod at the same time. What you need to do is learn to maintain a balance. Now, if you don't spank at all, if you don't discipline, you don't flog at all, you understand, you stand a chance of probably overindulging the children, and sometimes they might not turn out well. And if you overflog, beat, all what you know is beating, sometimes you harden their hearts. Sometimes they will not open up to you. Sometimes they will not want to talk to you. They want to talk to somebody else. Then another very technical aspect of it that so many parents also don't take note of is that when you have 2-3 children, you don't deal with them the same way. In fact, there are some children, they might necessarily not even need any beating because of their personality. So you deal with them as such. Whereas there are some, you might need a little bit of it. The hands they are bringing, you might just introduce a little. So that's why I said, don't say, and don't compare. Don't because of that compare and say, look at this, you, look at your brother. No. Deal with them according to their personality. The ones that need a little, but even as you are spanking, as you are beating, still draw them close. Still listen to them. Still talk to them. Let them see, as they are seeing the justice part of you, they also see the loving part of you. Just like God. God is a loving God. As in that, he's a God of justice. Yes. So let them always see the justice part of, do you know, this is I'm done. Most likely mommy or daddy will deal with me. But if I talk to daddy again, he has this loving part. So that sometimes when they are facing some difficulties, they will not be frustrated. They will be able to open up to you. So when it comes to the issue of discipline, we need to use the what politicians sometimes will refer to as carrot and stick method, moderately, okay, to see how we can make them open up to us, to talk to us. At the same time, when they are also going beyond boundary, you might also need to apply a little bit of the rod to make sure that you're shaping them properly.
Okay, sir. So in that aspect, can parents be too loving? Because there are some parents that in the area of nuts, they don't want to discipline too much. They don't want their words to feel like they hate them. So they now prefer to rub, as in their hands on their head. That don't worry, just because I love you. Is that the right way to do as parents?
No, it's not the right way. Okay, and we see situations whereby parents will be over-loving, in quotes. And most of the time, it always affects. Sometimes you see, especially single parents, because of probably the father is not there or the mother is not there, the parent involved wants to over pamper just to show the child so that he won't feel that he's missing the other person. So eventually we over show the love to them, and most of the time they don't turn out well. I've seen in my few years of teaching at various levels, I've seen a particular situation whereby a boy actually slapped the mother. It was a single parent, because the mother have over-pampered. The mother said he doesn't want to feel, he won't feel that the father is not there. Gives him whatever he wants. Now this boy, they paid the school fees. He was not coming around, wasn't coming to class. Playing around. And when the mother got to know, the mother came to school and said, the mother was not even harsh with him. And said, hey, please, just slap the mother. I told the mother she should go and do her work. So it can degenerate to that level. And that's why I said, that growing up part, you shouldn't spare anything. Make sure we're able to manage. So don't overindulge them. Don't overshow the love. There is room to spank. There is room to take some steps. There is room also to show that love. What you need is a balance. What you need is a balance. And this over-loving thing has actually affected quite a number. Most of some of my students I've dealt with that had issues, 70 to 80% of them are from single-parent backgrounds. Not because there's anything wrong with single-parent background, but most of the time, unconsciously, the single parent tends to try in attempt to cover up the gap of the other person, where they need to correct sharply, where they need to spank, they want to withdraw themselves, doing in the name of love, and eventually it doesn't turn out well. So whether you're a single parent or the father and the mother are together, you just have to adopt the balance mode of discipline. That's what's going to work. If you show love, buy what you're not supposed to buy for them, it's definitely going to affect them adversely.
Thank you very much, sir. Let us correct with love as parents. Sir, I was under your teaching where you talked about parents overloading their words with assignments.
Yes.
You said it, and I gained that day. I want you to share more light on that for them to learn.
Yes. Well, fortunately for me, I've been teaching. Probably most part of my life, I've taught virtually in almost all levels of education. I've taught in nursery school before, I've taught in primary school, I've taught in secondary school. I'm presently teaching in the university. I noticed that the problem most parents have is that we overload our children. We overload our children in terms of what they're supposed to know per time. And sometimes the children, it's not that maybe they are dull, but because we are overloading them, you know, put them in lesson 8 to 2, they've moved from 1, 4 to 6, they get home 6 to 9, you understand, no time to play. The educational system isn't designed that way. There is, in fact, that's why in school, there is time for short break, there is time for long break. There are time for you to play. It's normal.
We are going to learn more about what Doctor said. We want to go on break. When we come back, we are going to continue.
Enjoy inspirational, informative, and soul-lifting Christian programs such as Christian Parenting and Homefront, Light After Darkness, Fulfilling the Mandate, Kids and Bible, Movies Review, Shepherd's Spouse, Kingdom Stars, Teens Perspectives, My Next Gospel Event, and lots more on Divine Television. Download Divine TV mobile app on Google Play Store or watch on our YouTube channel. You can also visit www.tvdivine.net. Divine TV, enriching souls through the gospel of Christ.
Yeah, you're welcome back. Sir, you said there is short time, there is long time. Please, I want you to tell us more.
Yes, I was actually saying that even in the design of the school calendar, there is time for break. There is a short break, there is long break. So the idea of learning is not meant for the children to, especially growing up, to overload them with work. In fact, even some of the private schools, some of the assignments, they are even giving the children homework. They are not even giving the children, it's the parents they are giving work to do.
Yes, sir.
Because eventually the parents are going to sit down with those things. So that is not the appropriate way to learn. That's not the appropriate way to learn. And unfortunately for us, most times, we will not get the best out of the children. I've seen situations whereby a particular child, he thought he was not brilliant. Just for him to repeat 1 year, it turned out to be very different and it came out well. So we don't need to overload and we don't need to overrush. Some people will jump from like class 5 to go and do common entrance. No, if somebody is a genius, even if he's a genius in primary 4, if you ask him to go and go to primary 6, it will affect the performance. It's better you allow that person to be genius in that 4 and continue to be genius throughout his life. So by the time you say, he's very good, and he's going to join the senior, he will go there. He might be at par with them, but that will not be his best. So you don't overload them. Space out the work. I told you that in most parts of the world that they have the best system of education, there are countries that don't overload. They have time. I know of a country that by 1 p.m., all children are asked to go home. And intentionally, they ask them to go and play. When they come back for work, they do the work diligently with those few periods. But here in this part of the world, we think sometimes, by overloading them, that is going to make them to know more. Even some people, they don't supposed to start school yet. What is supposed to do is just a play group or a crutch that they will be playing at 19 months. You understand that we hear that they are flogging somebody at 19 months, at 2 years. They are supposed to still be playing. Our regulation states that nursery school should start by age 4, and primary school starts by age 6. That's what the rule says. But we say our parents at age 2.5, you want them to be saying state and capital. By age 3, you want them to go and write common entrance. By age 4. So sometimes they are not emotionally matured for the level, and not that because they are not good. So the implication is that we will not get the best out of the children at the end of the day. That is not the way God designed it. That is not the way our nature is. So the nature is that we should take it one at a time. And even in some cases whereby you have some genetic issues, like you said, department I work on, if you have some genetic issues that some children are a little bit slow in learning, part of also what you do is that you also slow it down for them. Don't compare them with others. And that's why in some institution, even at higher institution, the courses that you're supposed to do in a semester, you can break it into 2. Lessen the course unit. It doesn't mean that you should finish in 4 years. You can finish in 6 years. But you should understand what it's doing. But I noticed that Even in university, most parents, they don't want to understand. They say, please, oh, just help me do it. Just help me pack it there. He will try. And you keep on having those carryover. And sometimes or having 40, 40, 40, not being at the best. Let him, if it's just 3 or 4 courses per semester, let him do it well, understand it, do the next one, and then move ahead and come out better, stronger, and more reliable, rather than just pushing, rushing, you know, sometimes just for bragging rights. Some of them want to say, oh, my daughter finished at the age of 13, my son graduated at the age of 14. I mean, that is not what we want. What we want is that what can he or she bring out of what he has learned. So that's why I've always been an advocate of not overloading our children or not over-rushing. Because sometimes we can be over-rushing, jumping from SS2, you want them to go and write WAEC and jump, even when their age sometimes is not up to that. Some parents will even go ahead to go and adjust the age just to make sure that they get in. So at the end of the day, when they come out, what are we going to bring out of it? So I think we should be after what can we get out of the whole thing, and not just the bragging right to say, oh, my son graduated at the age of 12. There is no award for that.
Thank you very much, sir. There is no award for that. Like the teaching that I told you that was under his teaching, he said something about what? Coming back in the afternoon around 4, then what is it called? A teacher is already waiting for them, taking them through. Tonight, they sleep, the next morning, they are in school already, coming back again. And then even weekends, home teachers are there to take them again. They don't even have time. Even on Sundays, after coming back, the teacher had already given them assignment on Saturday to finish with on Sunday. So they don't even have time to play. Let's allow our words to play. When they play, they learn from it too. Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.
So I want to talk about communication skill between fathers and mothers, because it's really go a long way with their words. So I want you to help us to share more light on communication skills.
Okay, when it comes to communication, I think communication has to do with understanding. In fact, there's what we call body language. It became popular recently, but body language has always been there. Remember growing up, there are some places that you go with your parents, their body language will make you know what you should do and what you should not do. So communication is very, very important, but it's also based on understanding. It's also based on interaction with our children. So over the time, when you understand your word, you should also know how to communicate what you want to say. Communication by instruction. You can communicate by instruction, by verbal communication, by telling them what to do. And there's also communication by observation. So you might think sometimes the children, they don't see what you are doing, but they actually saw what you are doing. Sometimes they even see beyond what you are saying. The Englishman will say action, they say speaks louder than voice. So sometimes even if you are voicing, they are saying stand up, but your action is telling them sit down. Day to day we stand physically, but their heart too is sitting down. So in communicating with our children, we must make sure that our instruction goes alongside with what day to day are observing that we are doing. And then we should also take note on how to pass the message across. It's not all messages that you shout to say, you know, aggressiveness on them, and then not, you know, sometimes you just make them to be afraid. Sometimes you just have to sit them down and communicate calmly to them in your words. And when you see that what you are saying is also what you are doing, to a large extent, you will discover that it will begin to sink into them. They will begin to realize. But I realize that some parents, they just, all their own form of communication is just shouting. And even the parents, they say, mommy is going to shout now. Just watch. In fact, they will be expecting you. And you too, you will not disappoint them. You will just go, hey, they will look at their face. We said so. So sometimes also, it's also good that you should also make yourself unpredictable sometimes. You know, sometimes you learn to keep quiet. Just shock them. They've done something wrong, just keep quiet. They are calm. They are expecting something, but you're not doing anything. You know, just shock them sometimes, and then you pass your message across sometime, someday, in another way.
Thank you very much. In fact, our guest today has been Dr. J.B. Minari, an associate professor from Cell Biology and Genetics, Faculty of Science, University of Lagos. Thank you very much for coming, sir.
Welcome.
He has told us a lot. He has explained a lot to us today, and I want us parents to follow everything he has talked about today, because if we follow them, we will see that we have godly words that will respect us, that will even sit down and enjoy their fruits later in life. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Divine TV, and download our mobile app on Google Play Store. Thank you for watching.